Hi everyone, this is Stu from Plan Manage Assist, and this is another episode of NDIS TLDR, Too Long Didn't Read. Today, got Lauren from Connect Community and Respite Services, going to be talking to you about the essentials of the change of circumstances. Today, I've got Lauren here with me. Lauren's going to be talking about all things to do with the change of circumstances and what makes them better. Lauren, how you going?
Good, Stu. Thank you so much for having me on today. Hi, everyone.
Absolute pleasure to have you. So before, let's just look, I know what a change of circumstances. I would consider myself to be a change of circumstances expert, of course, but let's just pretend that I have no idea what I'm talking about for a change. And give me a run at what is a change of circumstances and what does it actually mean? First, before we even get to what the expert guide is.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, a change of circumstance is a form that you essentially fill out when you're looking for a plan variation or a plan reassessment. So this can help people who are unhappy with their plans or feel they have been underfunded. And it's just a really good way to, show off evidence and show off what your supports needs are.
Okay, so we would need to use one if, say, there was maybe a change in someone's medical circumstances, like their disability may not necessarily be getting all the attention it needs, or is that where you would feel that that's really useful for you?
Yeah, look, definitely. That's one example, a really great example. But look, some other examples could be a change in your personal circumstances, a change with your informal or formal support, a change in your disability and medical needs, but also a change in housing. Look, whenever there's a change with you, in a nutshell.
If there's a change in your circumstances, it really seems to be self-explanatory. So, okay, so if that's what a change of circumstances is, I know that there are a lot of coordinators out there and there's a lot of people out there that maybe don't understand how impactful that document can really be in the result that a participant can get. So what would be some sort of pitfalls and perils that you may have seen in a change of circumstances? Is it that you maybe see that maybe something's missing, or is something maybe not worded correctly that can cause an issue?
Yeah, look, the biggest pitfall we see is definitely the supporting evidence. That is the absolute biggest part of a change of circumstance. So I will retract a little. So when we're doing a change of circumstance, we can either go for a plan variation. So that is just changing a small part of your plan, or we can look at a whole plan reassessment.
Oh, okay.
So that's when we need to address all parts of the plan. So that just depends on your personal circumstances. But when we're looking at a plan, evidence is everything. So that's where we really need to start diving into, do we have our medical reports? Do we have supporting letters, evidence? And really, we need to take a look at your network and your stakeholders. So from a therapeutic standpoint, what are your support needs, and making sure the NDIS understand and know what support needs you have in order to thrive and be independent in your life.
Okay, so you talked about the reporting, and that's usually going to come from your allied health professionals. That's going to come from those OTs, the EPs, the physios, yeah?
Yeah, correct. It can also come from your support providers, or if you're in housing or supported employment, anyone who's a stakeholder in your life, they should be writing in reports. When we're looking at things like housing, so SDA, SILS housing, it's really important to also get our carer statements as well. So reports from the family and how their support needs have impacted, every aspect of their lives.
Okay. And so as a coordinator who's then putting together this change of circumstances report, and you're putting this together to try and make a case to increase or improve the quality of the support that's been given, what do you look for in those evidences? What are you looking for out of that report? Because I imagine that there's going to be reports that are written by new grads, and there are going to be reports that are written by very experienced and senior people. And they're going to be night and day in terms of both quality and quantity of what's in that. So as opposed, what are you looking for out of those reports? What is the key things you're trying to take away?
So there are a number of things we really look for. The biggest thing we're looking for at the moment, the baseline of all reports and all change of circumstances is, are we looking at intervention or maintenance? There are two categories that differentiate your support and your funding massively. So the reports need to either frame, if we're looking at interventions, the intervention means will your supports make an improvement in your life, especially through physio, OT, high therapeutic supports. Are they going to increase your mobility, increase your independence, and increase, your empowerment? Or are we looking at maintenance? So maintenance means we need to maintain where you are. So that can be your physicality, your mobility, your independence, your life development skills. Are they at a level that we need to maintain to stop any further regression? So we really need to look at those two categories, and we need to frame that way. The biggest difference is going to be the level of funding you achieve out of that. Intervention is going to require more funding because they need to improve on where you currently are. Maintenance is going to have a lower level. We typically see this change more in therapeutic supports.
Okay.
So around OT, physio, speech pathology, dietetics, you know, the whole shebang.
Could be anything.
Could be anything. The list is very long, but will more intensive therapies improve your condition? Okay. So the other side of it is the supports and the reports that go into a change of circumstance need to look at, have you used the public system? This is a big fall that we see in a lot of reports that come through. You know, a lot of reports, especially that we see for people who are maybe very new in the industry, will make their recommendations, but there's not a lot of back history or evidence to say this person has, you know, gone through psychology in the public system. They have exhausted their 10 or 16 sessions a year, their 6 sessions of physio a year, all through the public health system. They need to address that. Otherwise, the NDIS, now with the new legislative changes, are starting to say you need to look at that first.
Okay, so it's really about proving that you've done everything that you possibly can to make those interventions before asking for more.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sorry to have to cut you off there, but we're going to stop part 1 here. Tune in next time and we'll have part 2 on NDIS TLDR with me, Stu from Plan Manage Assist. See you then.